Hi everyone, I hope you're doing okay. This is Nikki K. I'm bringing you another podcast episode. This is a little special one because today I'm going to be talking about this great conjunction that we have this year, which is in Pisces. Yes, it's the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction that's going to be in Pisces. So are you ready to hear what I have to say? Okay, let's do this. So we have a conjunction, one of the major ones. Obviously, we have another crazy energy, which is going to be Mars, which is in Gemini. For the next 6 months, it's going to be till next year, January 2023. But this one is a bit more of a special one because we had a conjunction which was in Aquarius in 2009-2010, and when that happened, obviously I was into astrology, but I was mostly reading about the sun, moon and rising, and I was doing some other stuff as well in that time. So if you guys could look back to see where it was for you, what you were doing in 2009-2010 when Neptune was in Aquarius, and when this conjunction actually happened. Now 2009 was 2 decades ago, and it's not, personally there was aspects of it that was a little bit too much. But the planets, they don't lie. The planets always have a theme. The planets always have a story. And with Neptune being in Aquarius, I wouldn't say it wasn't the best. I wouldn't say it wasn't the worst. It was just what it was. So we did see lots of things, especially in popular culture, because that's what Neptune rules. And there were, obviously Netflix was been around for a while, but we started to see similar themes, when it came to popular culture, the same people kept on popping up, the same themes just kept on more or less popping up. Because remember, even though Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, it's also Saturn, traditionally ruled by Saturn. So it's very fixed in its ideas, fixed in its opinions, fixed in futuristic themes. So things that we saw which were the same, that was the Aquarian energy. Sorry guys, that was the Aquarian energy that, future, this is how things are going to be. And obviously Uranus was easing into Aries at that time as well. So that's one of the reasons why we started seeing certain things that were just very the same. It was very Saturn. These types of things, these types of people, these types of themes that we were going to see. And after then we had this futuristic Uranus. It didn't really feel very Uranian. It felt more Saturnian. Obviously because Pluto was speaking pretty loud then as well. So, we saw things like Downton Abbey, especially in the UK, very old school things that blew up. In the arts as well, there was certain groups that were, pushed at the front, should I say, very pushed at the front. And if we're gonna go to the media, publishing as well, and there's certain books that were pushed. It wasn't very open. It wasn't very diverse, even though that's what Aquarius sort of rules. But it was not really diverse, and you could say it was because of Pluto and Capricorn, or it was this conjunction. It probably was a mixture of both. So there was things that were sort of future, 3D, Avatar Avatar came out as well. But it felt quite nostalgic, like back, it felt like it was going back to the past more than actually futuristic. I think it sort of pushed its way to try and be, but it wasn't actually like that. So other themes that we saw during that time, like even with music as well, music wasn't very, music wasn't very not appealing, but music sounded very the same. Music's, but there was some good tunes that came out, but there was certain artists that we kept on seeing. There was also certain musics, like even with pop, and I can't even remember any, obviously like people like Beyonce, she changed up her style and everything, but in terms of like things that actually stood out, nothing really stood out, because everything seemed to be going to how it should. It was like a theme. So, Pisces is a sign that is ruled by, dreams. Pisces and Aquarius, they're very similar. They get on very well. They're next door neighbors to each other. And, like Aquarius is the future, Pisces is meant to be the past. So it would have been very different at the time if it was like Pisces did, but Aquarius was first. So there were some progressive things that were coming up, especially in terms of like 3D, like technology wise, social. Let's not forget either, in terms of like books and that, there were books that people could like discuss, but there wasn't like diverse of books. It was just like a theme of books, theme of TV shows. I think I've said this already, but also, like in terms of like social media, because Aquarius does rules like the masses to a point. It rules, it's the 11th house, which is social media. So social media at the time with Uranus and Aries, it blew up more big time. Lots of selfies and the selfie generation, sharing ideas. There was like the Pluto in Scorpio generation. They actually blew up big time because it's their time. So they really came into their own during this Neptune conjunction in Aquarius. So selfies. What else? People were getting paid by sponsorships. People were communicating more through advertisers, through social media. Even going forward, we're in the pandemic, so Zoom. We're still in the conjunction, so Zoom is very big. It was very, it's very, very much communicating time technology. In terms of like groups and organizations, that's how people form groups. People form groups with people that were aligned mentally with each other. And even though it's groups, I call them, there was groups and associations, organizations, but there was also cults. And I say cults is because if you're not aligning what I am saying, what I'm about, then you're going to be ostracized. This is what happened during this conjunction as well. Obviously, it's the rise of cancel culture, so-called cancel culture. If even though I've said it, there's a part of me that doesn't really believe it's cancel culture. But we are in Aquarian time, so but there was also some good things that came out of this, like the whole LGBTQT community. They actually rose up. Their voices are more heard, especially like the Black LGBTQT community as well. Their voices are more seen, like the whole community. And some people did get to say there was some protests that happened, especially in like the mid 2010s with let's not forget progression, as in Barack Obama was the first African American president of the USA, and it was early 2009 when this happened. And also, what else? My mind is there, but it's sort of going blank as well. I know we are in the Mercury retrograde. Yes, so that happened. Yes, the rise of protests.